I had believed in Malaysia and the unity of these two territories and ties of kinship.
This was a mud flat, swamp. Some people think, oh, well, we are a small place, they can put the screws on us. It's not so easy. We are a small place, yes, geography. But in the quality of the men, the administration, the organization, the metal in a people, the fiber, don't try. 10 years from now, this will be a metropolis.
In 1965, Singapore had no military, no navy, no air force, just 2 wooden patrol boats and 6 radios. Today, it's a nation known for world-class security forces and one of the highest GDPs per capita on Earth. But how did it get here? With nothing. Lee Kuan Yew wrote in from Third World to First that Singapore was utterly vulnerable. The British were leaving. Mao's revolution was spilling over. Indonesia had just ended its confrontation, and Malaysia was watching. Lee warned, we could be throttled just by cutting off our water from Johor, or by naval blockade. There was no guarantee of survival, no fallback, no defense but self-reliance. We had no illusions. No one would defend us but ourselves. So Lee didn't beg. He built. He called on his most trusted minister, Dr. Goh Keng Swee, and gave him one order: build a military from scratch. Dr. Goh Keng Swee was given an impossible task: build an army with no military tradition, no officers, and no time. We had to learn to fight, but no one would teach us. So Goh went to Israel, quietly, under diplomatic cover. Israel had just fought off multiple Arab nations. They knew how to build a defense force out of nothing. We could not tell the Muslim world we were trained by Israel, so we called them Mexicans. With Israeli help, Singapore formed the Singapore Armed Forces, the SAF. Training began with just 2 infantry battalions, but what they lacked in size, they made up for in discipline, structure, and mindset. In 1967, Singapore passed the National Service Act. Every male citizen would serve 2 years in the military. It wasn't just about defense. It was about unity, discipline, identity. Lee believed a citizen army would bind a divided nation. National service gave us the muscle to back our independence. Lee Kuan Yew knew military power wasn't just about winning battles. It was about avoiding them. Singapore's military had to look strong enough that no one dared to test it. We needed a credible force. Visible strength is deterrence. Lee avoided boasting. No nuclear race, no provocation. Instead, Singapore projected quiet strength. It was psychological warfare, measured, precise, controlled. But strength wasn't just on the borders. It had to be inside too. Lee reorganized the police force into one of Asia's most efficient, and the Internal Security Department, the ISD, became Singapore's silent shield. We could not afford riots, strikes, or subversion. Discipline was non-negotiable. Lee was clear: free speech couldn't mean chaos. He allowed tough laws, like the Internal Security Act, to prevent racial incitement, sedition, or foreign influence. Many criticized it. But for Singapore, it worked. National service wasn't just defense, it was nation building. Malay, Chinese, Indian, rich or poor. Everyone wore the same green. Everyone trained. Everyone served. NS would break down race and class. It would forge a Singaporean identity. Lee believed discipline couldn't be taught in classrooms alone. It had to be lived, sweated out, shared under pressure. And when those men returned to society, they brought that order with them. But Lee also feared something else: power, without loyalty. He studied other nations, where generals overthrew governments. So Singapore's armed forces were taught one rule above all: the army serves the country, not the ruling party. Lee designed Singapore's military not to worship him, but to outlast him. It wasn't built on ego, it was built on systems, clear laws, clear loyalty, clear limits. Thanks to insightful direction, the Singapore Army is a technologically advanced and formidable force. It is built on a foundation of over 51,000 active personnel and the capacity to mobilize more than 250,500 reservists. With a defense budget of $11.69 billion US. In 2022, the Army is equipped with cutting-edge platforms. This includes the locally designed Hunter Armored Fighting Vehicle, Leopard 2SG main battle tanks, and the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, HIMARS, for precision firepower. By the end of July 2024, all active units will be equipped with the new Colt Infantry Automatic Rifle, which has a higher rate of fire and an effective range of 600 meters. This force is organized into 6 divisions, including 3 active combined arms divisions and 2 operational reserve divisions. The Army's capabilities are sharpened through regular bilateral and multilateral exercises. These include Exercise Wallaby in Australia, the largest overseas drill for the Singapore Armed Forces, Exercise Tiger Balm with the US, and Exercise Safkar Indopura with the Indonesian Army, enhancing interoperability and regional security cooperation. Ready, decisive, and respected, the Singapore Army stands as a credible deterrent force, safeguarding the nation's sovereignty. You cannot build a country on charisma. You build it on institutions. The results speak for themselves. GDP per capita in 1960, $463. Today, over $90,000. No oil, no land, no mercy from neighbors. But Singapore had discipline, safety, order. That brought the world's money in. Copied Singapore's growth model, but failed. They wanted the money, but not the discipline. They wrote laws, but never enforced them. Lee was ruthless about one thing: results. Soft countries suffer. Soft people breed corruption. Lee knew the price of what he built. He feared failure every day. He wept when Singapore was expelled from Malaysia. But instead of folding, he turned fear into fuel.
If they could have just squeezed us like an orange and squeezed the juice out, I think the juice would have been squeezed out of us, and all the goodness would have been sucked away. But it was a bit harder, wasn't it? It was more like the durian. You try and squeeze it, your hand gets hurt.
If we failed, my people would be refugees. I could not let that happen. Singapore became a fortress, not just in weapons, but in will. It wasn't magic. It was hard choices, tough laws, clear direction, and one man who refused to blink when the whole world was watching. You don't need to be big to be strong.